I have the Sony Ericsson W910i. It came out in 2007 as a 2.4-inch display, a 2-megapixel camera with a 2.5 times zoom, no flash, front camera, 930 milliamp battery, and 40 megabytes of storage with a slot for micro SD.
I have the Sony Ericsson TXT, or it's also called the CK13i. It came out August 11th, 2011. It has a 2.6-inch display with a resolution of 240 by 320. It has a 3.2 megapixel camera, a 1000 milliamp hour battery, 0.1 gigabytes of storage with expandable memory, and a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack.
Yours comes with a headphone jack, mine doesn't, which is really weird because these are prioritized as, it's like a Walkman brand line of phones.
Yeah.
So these are meant to be like phones that are also music players. But these being like music-based phones, they do have a lot of features that like prioritize music on the go. My phone came out the same year as the first iPhone, which these both kind of share the same philosophy of like, it's a phone, but it's also a music player on the go.
Yeah.
And it can browse the web and it can do all of these other.
So the music player on my phone is super basic.
Yeah.
Even though it does have a headphone jack, there's nothing really special about it. It doesn't have any creation software on it.
Yeah. It's just a basic music player.
Yeah.
Mine has like a shake feature where you can shake the phone and use it to navigate through like tracks on an album.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. It's a little gimmicky, and I imagine if you were like jogging with this thing, you would have so many accidental skips. It would get kind of annoying.
A lot of phones at the time had that. They had some kind of like shake or like squeeze functionality to where it would do some kind of function.
These are both Ericsson phones.
Yeah, so I think what Sony was going for with the Ericsson phones was very similar to what Motorola was doing with like the Droid line of phones, where it was like a series of phones.
Their flagship.
Yeah, like their flagship phones that would come out probably every year, and they would just get better every year, but it was part of the same Ericsson series.
Yeah, and these came out for a while because, like we said, mine came out in 2007, yours came out in 2011.
Yeah.
Which is weird for yours because the first Android came out in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what is the advantage of having this phone over, like, an Android at the time?
Well, Android back then was super different. Like, everybody was trying to create that next new operating system.
Yeah.
So it probably took 5 or 6 years for Android really to kick it off. So, in an alternate universe, we all could have been using this Ericsson software,
Which both you and I have pretty similar UIs.
Yeah, I mean, just super... And like most phones at the time had a super basic UI where it's just like menu, music, text message. Now my phone does have some pre-installed apps. It does have like Facebook and Twitter and Yahoo and Gmail and stuff like that. And you can install more. I think there is an app store that was obviously shut down at some point. Yeah. But you could install like different applications, you can install games, and then you could even install some themes for the phone.
What does suck is that if for whatever reason you wanted to revert back to using a Sony Ericsson, you wouldn't be able to use the internet because both of the services on both of these phones, you tried connecting to my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and it didn't work. They both use Opera, right? Or yours
uses Opera. Mine uses a service called Vodafone Live, which obviously is a defunct service.
As you can see, the whole gimmick to it is that it's trying to copy like a BlackBerry phone.
Yeah. It
has like the BlackBerry style keyboard, but I think it is much worse than the BlackBerry keyboard. On Blackberries, each key will have like a little bit of like raised plastic on it, for your finger to know like it's on a key and that you can press down on the key.
And eventually you can get to the point where you're not having to look at the keyboard at all.
But this phone is just very flat. And then for some reason on this keyboard, they swapped the Y and the Z on like the keyboard.
It's so weird.
And I know it wasn't a mistake because on the numerical pad, it has like the 1 through 9 on it.
All keys,
And the Z key has the number 2 with it. So it was put there on purpose.
Yeah. I don't know what the reason for that would be.
I don't know what they were going for.
But like if you learn to type good with that, it would mess you up. Like
on other devices, it would be crazy.
I really don't like the keyboard on mine. Mine is just sort of like a pen pad keyboard. Aside from the number 5 key, which has like an indentation, which I guess is just to let you know that you're in the middle of the keyboard. It never feels like you're pressing in these keys. Like there's very little feedback.
Yeah.
And all of the keys are flat. So I guess it's something that you could get used to, but you never feel like you have a sense of like where your thumb is at if you're not looking at the keyboard.
Yeah. So my phone has the 3.2 megapixel camera. The camera isn't great, but it has a night vision mode,
Yeah, mine
which
does
is really
too.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it just has like some kind of software that tries to like brighten the image because
Yeah.
it doesn't like actually have a night sensor on it. So
Yeah. My camera quality isn't the best. It is a 2 megapixel camera, so I mean it's what it says on the box.
yeah. Yours is also known for crashing a lot though, right?
Yeah, that's a problem with this phone is that when it came out, it got pretty bad reviews because a lot of people were reporting like the phone would just like intermittently turn off for no reason. It would crash. Ever since using this phone, I haven't really had that problem.
Both of these phones have this feature called Track ID, which
Yeah.
is where you can identify music.
Think about like Shazam today. It's
Yeah.
like you can hold the phone up to like any song that's playing, and if it's inside of the Ericsson database, it'll tell you what song you're listening to.
What else do we got? You need to talk about your soft. You need to talk about.
I need to talk about.
Yeah, you specifically, not me. You need to talk about your camera and the soft keys at the very top.
Yeah.
And you need to walk through some of like your video editing stuff.
Something cool about my phone that your phone actually doesn't have is it's got these two little buttons, and if you're in the menu, you can see your most recent photo. The other button will show you like a gallery of your most recent photos. And the editing software is really simple. You can piece clips together and make like a little movie. You can put text on the screen, like intro text, which for 2007 is really neat because like even with phones today, like more often than not, you need to download proprietary software to do anything that isn't just like trimming a video clip. So for this to have like a full-fledged editing software and you can make your own music, it's like baby's first like garage band. So I think for that reason, I do prefer my phone over yours. I don't like the keyboard on either of them, really.
I do like having the bigger screen, but this keyboard is just really obnoxious to me. So
Yeah.
I think I would prefer yours.
Yeah.
Plus the editing software is really nice.
Yeah.
Although I do like having the ability to download apps and download more games and stuff. I think that is really cool.
Well, to me, it seems like yours prioritizes social media more than anything else. I mean, it comes pre-installed with like Facebook and Gmail, and
Yeah.
it would be like the teenager's answer to my phone. You know?
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
I guess to me, what's so interesting about Sony Ericsson, this whole line of phones, is that it really was the last line of defense before iPhone and Android became the domineering OS and like flagship phone.
Yeah, it's back whenever pretty much every company was creating their own operating system
Yeah.
and hoping that it would be, the next big thing, the next thing that every phone would want to use.
And this was Sony's effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. That's all we gotta say.
That's all we got.
Bye bye.